Bienvenue à cette nouvelle édition de l'événement virtuel du Club des Maîtres, présenté par la Monnaie royale canadienne. Il s'agit de l'émission par excellence pour les numismates, qui est, comme toujours, une exclusivité du Club des Maîtres. Je m'appelle Alexandra Lindsay et je suis ravie d'être votre animatrice. Je suis accompagnée de Jamie Desrochers, responsable de programme, croissance et fidélisation de la clientèle.
Bienvenue, membres du Club des Maîtres, à cette rencontre virtuelle où nos liens iront au-delà de votre écran. Installez-vous bien confortablement. Nous avons tout un programme pour vous aujourd'hui.
Quel enthousiasme, Jamie! C'est sûrement parce que nous sommes au Musée de l'aviation et de l'espace du Canada. Et oui, vous avez bien entendu. Aujourd'hui, nous nous intéressons à notre thème annuel, le 100e anniversaire de l'aviation royale canadienne. La plupart d'entre vous ne savent peut-être pas que derrière ce programme, il y a toute une équipe de spécialistes, laquelle est ici même parmi nous. Quel meilleur endroit que le Musée de l'aviation et de l'espace du Canada à Ottawa pour vous parler de notre collection de pièces en honneur du centenaire de l'ARC. Qu'y a-t-il d'autre au programme, Jamie?
Eh bien, Alex, je sais que tu as eu la chance d'entretenir avec notre équipe de gravure. Nous recevons Samantha Strath, graveuse chevronnée, qui nous parlera des finis que rehaussent nos pièces. Nos membres nous posent souvent des questions sur le givrage des pièces et les techniques utilisées, ou encore sur la réputation mondiale de la Monnaie royale canadienne comme chef de file du givrage. Le givrage est un art à découvrir.
Enfin, pourrais-tu nous donner les dernières nouvelles sur le programme du Club des Maîtres? Je suis curieuse de savoir ce qui est prévu. Pourrais-tu nous donner aussi un aperçu de ce qui nous attend avec le programme de fidélisation?
Avec plaisir. Je donnerai des nouvelles du Club des Maîtres et plus encore.
Merci, Jamie. L'événement d'aujourd'hui sera ravir nos membres, j'en suis convaincue. Alors, sans plus attendre, allons-y!
Et c'est parti! Le prochain volet est en anglais, mais vous pouvez activer les sous-titres.
Notre premier volet s'intitule « Hier, aujourd'hui et demain ». 100e anniversaire de l'aviation royale canadienne. Accueillons chaleureusement nos premiers invités.
Dans les prochaines minutes, vous vivrez une expérience particulière. Je m'apprête à rencontrer l'équipe qui a travaillé sur la collection de pièces 2024 en l'honneur du centenaire de l'ARC. Il s'agit d'une entrevue réservée aux membres du Club des Maîtres. Joining me here at the Canada Aviation and Space Museum are three of the members of this incredible team. We begin with a familiar face and product manager Matt Egging, a great friend to the Masters Club. Matt, I'm sure you've got a lot of surprises in store for us.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. We're also joined by retired Major Matt Yost. Matt, would you mind telling us a little bit about your background and how you're involved in this team?
Well, I spent 32 years in the Canadian Armed Forces, and the last 18 I was fortunate to work at the Directorate of History and Heritage, where I was one of the Air Force historians. And after I retired, I was asked if I'd assist with all the centennial products and support, and it's a pleasure to help with all of this.
And you have a long history with the product team as well. I know myself and Matt have worked with you on projects, so it's nice to have you here joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lastly, rounding out our super crew is Colonel Maggie Jacula. Colonel Jacula, you had a very special role on this team. Do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your role on this team?
Yeah, definitely. So I am the campaign manager for RCF 2024, which is the centennial team that the RCF stood up about 4 years ago. So it's been a great honor over that time to lead our small but mighty team of folks who are curating a year-long series of events to celebrate the centennial. Myself personally, I've been in the Air Force since 1997, and I am an aerospace engineer by trade.
That's great. And you've been working on this for 4 years, this program.
Coming up on 4 years, yes.
That's a long time. Yeah, so that's fantastic. Thank you, guys. And this is really a super team. I know I've mentioned it once or twice, the three of you working together on this, and I'm sure there's so many other people behind the scenes, but Matt, everything starts with you. So knowing that the RCAF would be a large theme this year, how did you approach your collaboration with this team, and where did it all start?
Well, like you said, Jamie, this was something that the Mint, we wanted to commemorate. It started off actually with a phone call with Major Jacula, and then the team grew from there. Initially, the excitement around the program was mutually shared by everyone, and it was just contagious at that point. So it naturally grew into a coin program that I think we're all quite proud of.
So basically, Colonel Jacula, we'll go over to you. April 1st, 2024 marked the 100 years of service for the Royal Canadian Air Force as a distinct military element. So we know the RCAF 2024 team are curating a year-long program, as you mentioned, and your role as a campaign manager is huge in this, right? Can you give our Masters Club members a little bit of a rundown of the centennial commemorations this year?
Yeah, definitely. So we really kicked things off back in December with the Winnipeg Jets. They created their third jersey for this hockey season, which was a tribute to the RCAF Flyers, who had won the Olympic gold medal back in 1948. So that was a super exciting way to start off the centennial. We also have RCAF runs happening around the world, RCAF Game Force, which is a gaming team that's engaging with youth. On the 1st of April proper, we kicked off the centennial with an illumination campaign. So over 500 sites around the world in about 27 countries illuminated in blue that day. And that was a really great way to get Canadians engaged in the centennial. One of the things that we want to do through the centennial is celebrate our history and heritage while inspiring future generations of Canadians to take interest in air and space. So all the different ways that we can celebrate the centennial from coast to coast have been very exciting. For folks who do want more information on the centennial website, there is an events page that has an interactive map. And some of the things I'm most looking forward to this summer are the different air shows across the country. And we're going to be joined by both the Italian and the British air demonstration teams to help us celebrate. So there's a lot to look forward to this summer still.
I'm surprised too, like you saying it's not just contained to Canada, it's global, which is fantastic. It must have taken a lot of coordination on your team's part too, so.
Yeah, it definitely did. We even had 4 RCAF run locations in Australia.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Matt, we'll come back to you. You assembled quite a team here to get these coins produced. So the suite of products that you were working on, is there an overarching narrative throughout the whole commemoration?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. As you know, Jamie, when we issue our Proof Dollar Suite program every year, there's several products, and they usually start off with telling the history of whatever theme that it is that we're commemorating, and that works well with the $100 gold. As you know, the $100 gold featured the Tiger Moth, an early trainer aircraft, and from there the story grew. We ended up moving into more of a collage design, which you all have seen on the Proof Dollar, and then the RCF Centennial, knowing that was in April, that was looking to the future. So naturally, and I can't say enough and thank Major Yost and Colonel Jacula enough for their support, their collaboration, their ideas. It was a wonderful collaboration, starting from a historical look back to the future. The way the program came together, couldn't ask for better.
That's fantastic, yeah. And the amount of effort that the program it shows, and we'll get into each coin as we go, because there's such a great story here that you guys have developed. So we're not going to spoil anything right away, but we'll get into all those details. So Matt, I haven't forgotten you. Considering your tenure at the Directorate of History and Heritage for the Canadian Forces, how important was it to you get the story of the centennial of RCAF correct from a historical perspective?
It's quite important because when you look at 100 years of history, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of events, a lot of people packed into that. And with most Canadians focusing on the present, the historical aspect becomes significant because these are the people that led the way. These are the people who created what became a very professional and capable RCAF. So to be able to tell their story, even in a small way, is very important.
we're going to change the gears slightly. Now we're going to discuss each coin in the collection and unfold the story that was lovingly created by our team here in chronological order. We'll be getting into the finer details of the RCAF coins in your collection. The first coin we're going to review is the 2024 $100 pure gold coin, the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. The reverse design by artist Neil Amney features the RCAF roundel in the background and a proud maple leaf in its center. The RCAF's early years are represented by the de Havilland tiger moth. So Matt, could you tell us a little bit more about the importance of starting the story with the tiger moth? I know that our first coin was the gold coin, the specific model displayed and why it was selected for this coin.
The tiger moth is significant in the early RCAF. In the interwar period, the RCAF would only be allowed to purchase 5, 10, maybe 20 of a particular aircraft. And most of them were actually civilian aircraft used in military operations. When you get to the first tiger, well, to the moth at the start, you're talking January 1928. From there, the RCAF continued to buy different models of the moth until you get to the tiger moth, and they served until 1948, so a 20-year span in a period when if an aircraft lasted 5 years before it became obsolete, that was actually an accomplishment. And here's an airplane that lasted 20 years in RCAF service. And then with all the people that trained as pilots on the tiger moth, and then those that trained as radio operators on moths, it's actually a major contribution by one type of airplane.
And a great fitting start to the whole program too, right? So to have that. Was the tiger moth also part of the British Commonwealth, the air training program? Was it used for that kind of thing?
Yes, in fact, they built just over 1,300 tiger moths, and they were actually Canadianized. So they had canopies and better heating so that they could be flown in the winter. Yeah. But yeah, 2/3 of the elementary flying training schools where they taught pilots to fly employed the tiger moth at one time or another. And then a lot of the other smaller schools for wireless operators, for instance, they employed the tiger moth or a variant thereof called the Monasco moth for training purposes.
So Maggie, and excuse my Latin, but sic itur ad astra. Yes. It's a Latin motto and it features on many of our coins this year and is prominently displayed on this coin's banner. Can you tell us a little bit more about the motto, where it comes from and its history?
So obviously we have Matt here, so in case I either get the history wrong or pronounce things incorrectly, Matt will stand in to make sure it's accurate.
That's why you guys are here.
Exactly. But the motto stands for such as the pathways to the stars, and it started out as the motto of the Canadian Air Force in 1920, so prior to the establishment of the RCAF. When the RCAF did come into existence on the 1st of April 1924, they actually adopted the motto of the RAF, and it wasn't until 1975 that we returned to this motto, which is such as the pathway to the stars. So we thought it was really important to have that on the coin because while it obviously has a rich history for the RCAF, the fact that we're saying such as the pathway to the stars really alludes to the future as well.
Yeah, and you see that narrative throughout all of these coins, which is really cool. And I'm not going to spoil anything right now, but at the same time, you know, it's a reoccurring theme, and you kind of see where it's going to as we get into the coins. So moving along this incredible timeline created by this team, we'll explore the 2024 fine silver proof dollar and set, the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. So Matt, you and I did a deep dive on the proof dollar in December in our live stream with the Masters Club. We went over all the details, but for the benefit of those who missed it, we'll show a little bit of that footage.
I think the first thing we definitely wanted to capture is the RCAF roundel. So in the center of the coin, you have the large maple leaf, and around the perimeter of the coin on the outside is a large frosted band, and that's the RCAF roundel, and it actually anchors the whole design. Yeah. So starting from left to right, the small aircraft on the left, just below the N in Canada, is a tiger moth, and that represents the early years of the RCAF.
Right.
Next to the Tiger Moth, to the right, is the CF-18 Hornet, which represents their fighter fleet. And then next to the Hornet, we have the Hercules, which represents their fixed wing fleet. And then just to the right of the Hercules, we have the Chinook, which represents their helicopter fleet. I'd say of all the elements that we had to bring into the design, the tartan was probably the most challenging.
It was.
Because, how do we make it look like the tartan and fit well within the design when there's so many other elements. So the artist did a really great job where he took the smoke trail of 3 of the aircrafts and built it into the tartan. This is sort of giving the idea that the smoke trail is forming and building the tartan. Yeah. So the smoke trail is engraved, but if you look at the tartan is laser engraved, so it's a different look altogether. So the raised relief from the smoke trail builds into the flat relief of the laser engraved tartan, and they come together really well.
And the tartan is what exactly? It's the official RCAF tartan, or?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's their official tartan. And if you look at the outside of the design, the tartan is stylized. Yeah. But as you get closer to the roundel, and it's only appropriate to the center maple leaf, as you get closer to the maple leaf, the actual official tartan is just below. Just to the right of the Chinook, you'll see some planets and orbital rings. And those represent the space division of the RCAF. Okay, yeah. And then also in that same area, we have 3 stars, and those stars represent the RCAF's current motto.
So Matt, I had a great time speaking to you about that design, and you put a lot of care into it, and now we know that you weren't alone in that creation, so we get the full story. So Maggie, when it comes to that design, it has a little tulip on the bottom. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that tulip? I know Matt went to detail a little bit, but I think that your expertise is probably best here.
Well, as you alluded to, that coin has so many different elements to it. And one of the reasons that I was excited to include the tulip, which was the rescue tulip, is that the Tulip Festival here in Ottawa is celebrating the centennial by having the theme of the 2024 Tulip Festival be 100 years of the RCAF. So by including the one tulip, we were able to then sort of incorporate all 4 of the RCAF themed tulips that the Tulip Festival has. So in addition to the rescue tulip, there is a yellow trainer aircraft, a white Ad Astra tulip, as well as a red Flyers tulip. So it was just a really great opportunity to incorporate that collaboration as well.
So there are several aircraft featured on this coin, such as the Tiger Moth, the Hornet, the Hercules, and the Chinook. Why were these aircraft selected, and why are they important to portray on this design?
One of the problems we face in trying to design any coin that represents the RCAF is that we have well over 200, in fact closer to 250 different models of aircraft that we've used since 1924. And with all the roles that we've had, whether it's transport, search and rescue, trying to be representative becomes difficult. So each aircraft was picked based on representing one or more roles or having a greater significance, hence the Tiger Moth, as we've already talked about. Now with the Hornet, it's been around since 1985, and originally it was supposed to be air defense, but we've used it in so many more roles. We've used it in Libya, in the Gulf War, and it still is a very good aircraft, and our pilots are showing that we are still capable of world-class efforts. The Hercules, it's been around in different models since October 1960, and originally it was just a tactical airlift aircraft, but it's become so much more. I mean, we're using it for search and rescue, humanitarian operations around the world. So it too has a significance, not just to the people of Canada, where it may have helped evacuate people from floods or forest fires. So it is the epitome of transport aircraft. Whereas the Chinook, it's a transport helicopter, but it too has been used for other operations.
In April, we launched the stunning 2024 $20 silver coin, the Royal Canadian Air Force Centennial. So that's our next stop in this narrative. A salute to the RCF's 100 years of service. The reverse design by artist David Moore spans 3 different eras of RCEF aircraft history. Backed by angular shapes conveying speed and motion, 2 of the aircraft speak to the RCEF's past. This one is a stunning coin with some Art Deco flair and definitely one of my favorites. Don't tell anyone. So when we look at this one here, the F-35 Lightning II at the center of the coin inspired that sort of lightning bolt background and is prominently featured in the foreground. It's like a sleek and modern aircraft. Can you tell us a little bit about that aircraft featured on its coin and what it represents to the RCEF?
So when we looked at this coin, and we really wanted, with it being the 3rd in the series, to sort of look to the future, the commander of the RCAF, General Kenny, was quite keen to have the F-35 on the coin because it represents the future of the RCAF. We are in a period of extreme modernization right now, with the F-35 aircraft coming on board, the P-8 aircraft coming on board, and so having the F-35 on this coin really signifies the future of the RCAF, because in just 10 years, by the time we get to 2035, the fleets in the RCAF are going to have undergone an extreme amount of change, and that's what this coin is supposed to represent.
Representing the future, as we were kind of implying before. There are 2 planes in the background behind the F-35. And Matt, I'll come on to your expertise again. So the 2 aircraft that are flanking the F-35, what are those 2 planes and why are they important?
The 2 aircraft are the Sopwith Camel and the Supermarine Spitfire. Now, the Camel is probably considered the epitome of First World War fighter aircraft. It was a handful to fly, and it was an outstandingly maneuverable aircraft. A lot of Canadian pilots flew it, and 5 of the top 10 Canadian aces during the war actually flew the Camel, including William Barker, Victoria Cross winner. The RCAF used it from 1920 up to 1929, and it was used as an advanced fighter trainer at Camp Borden. Now, when we get to the Spitfire, it's usually associated with the Battle of Britain, but there were only a few Canadians that flew the Spitfire during that battle. However, by the time you get to 1944, 14 of the 17 day fighter squadrons that the RCAF had in the UK and in the Mediterranean theater were operating the Spitfire. And I don't know how many of them realized it, but that beautiful elliptical shape to the wings that characterizes the Spitfire, those were actually designed by a Canadian by the name of Bev Shenstone.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that myself, so that's interesting, yeah. Finally, to wrap up this story, we end on a set that has not yet seen the light of day. For this last entry in our numismatic collection and a sneak preview for the program, we will look at the 2024 Special Edition Silver Dollar Proof Set, the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. So Matt, the last piece of your RCEF Centennial program is still hidden. Most people haven't seen it yet. So you're doing a sneak preview as you did last time, and it's very much appreciated. Would you mind unveiling this coin for us and telling us a little bit about it?
It's an honor. The way the program, as far as the numismatic program goes, I think it's very appropriate to come out with the special edition silver dollar, which highlights and I think pays respect to the RCF personnel. So the RCF badge was a piece that our engravers were even excited about, because this type of artwork, I should say, always strikes up really well on a coin.
Maggie, if you don't mind, we'll dive into that a little bit more. So that badge, how important is it to you and your team?
It was really important to me, and I loved it when Matt suggested that this be the last one in the numismatic collection, because the RCF badge truly does represent the people of the RCAF. We all wear it on our cap badges, and one of the things that I like to talk about in the Centennial, I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity, is a lot of Canadians think about pilots and planes when they think of the RCAF, and without a doubt those are 2 very key elements of the RCAF. But there are over 75 trades of personnel who work with the planes and the pilots in order to allow them to do all the things that they do. So this badge is a really great way, this coin, to celebrate all of those individuals and shed light on all the great folks within the RCAF.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's just the perfect bookend to that. So well done, guys.
One other thing, Jamie, I wanted to mention about the special edition proof set is this is the first time in several years where we're featuring a new coin as the silver dollar within that set. Typically, we use the proof dollar design without the plating, and that goes in the set. This year, we've put the exclusive design, it being the RCAF badge, struck in proof finish in that set. And it's only in that special edition proof set that you can get this coin.
Yeah. I think the last time we did that was with the end of the Second World War. That was so it's been quite a few years. Yeah, so fantastic work on that. That's it. And it makes it more special to the set in the sense that it's the only place you can get that special edition proof dollar, right? So
that's
fantastic
right.
work, yeah. Just hearing all of your stories has been fantastic. Maggie, when I look at you, I hear rumors that either you're a coin collector or you have someone on your team that's also a Masters Club member. Is that true?
Yeah, and that's why this has been so exciting. I mean, obviously, I am exceptionally grateful to the Mint for all of these coins. They're amazing. It has completely blown my mind and my expectations, and it has given us such an opportunity to talk to Canadians about the history of the RCAF and about the centennial. So professionally, it's been amazingly rewarding. But on a personal note, for myself and our team, it's been a really cool opportunity. Master Trent Paulus, who I'm sure is watching this, is a Master Club member, and he has loved seeing all of this come to life. And you know, I think over the last more than a year, our connection with Matt and others at the Mint it's more than just a working relationship. It feels like a family. And so Matt took the opportunity to take all of the team, including Master Trent Paulus, for a tour of the Mint to see where our coins are being made. And that was really amazing. And then even more personally, my 10-year-old son, Greg, is a budding coin collector. And he has loved all of the coins when they come to our house. Even though I've ordered them, they become his.
Okay.
And we've had the opportunity to go down to the Mint a few times. I'd love to give a shout out to Christopher as well. He is an exceptional guide and has really helped Greg make sure he has all the right books and protection and things like that for his coins. And it's been really great opportunity. The last 3.5 years, I have worked a lot on the centennial, and yet this is one of the things that I can share with my son, and we get to have time together and build those relationships and those memories over this whole collection. So for very many reasons, I am grateful for this.
And when it's personal like that too, you've invested your own, you have your own story in those coins too. Not only the story of the RCAF, but it's your own history too, right? So, and Matt Egg, you know all too well how that works, right? Most of us that have worked at the Mint are very invested in our stories, and we'd love to share those stories too. We're very proud of you all three of you, and you've done such a fantastic job on this. And thank you so much for spending your time with us and telling our stories for our Masters Club members. So thank you again, and fantastic work to the three of you.
Thank you.
All right, next let's join Alexandra on a journey to discover more about the art of frosting on our coins.
Je suis ravie d'accueillir Samantha Strath, une graveuse chevronnée qui vient nous parler d'une forme d'art méconnue, le givrage. Vous avez été nombreux à souhaiter que nos plus grands graveurs vous expliquent le processus en détail. Ce moment est enfin venu. Bonjour Samantha. Parlons-nous un peu de votre rôle à la Monnaie royale canadienne. Depuis combien de temps êtes-vous graveuse?
Ça fait 13 ans. J'ai commencé en 2011.
Wow, ça fait longtemps! Ce volet s'annonce les plus instructifs. Tout d'abord, pouvez-vous nous expliquer ce qu'est le givrage exactement lorsqu'il est en question sur nos pièces?
Oui, donc le métal, naturellement, on le polit jusqu'à ce que ça soit très, très brillant. Mais des fois, on va vouloir avoir un petit peu de texture sur les pièces. Donc, le givrage, c'est vraiment juste on va rajouter une texture, des différentes textures pour que ça ait l'air plus ou moins brillant.
Wow, intéressant! Pouvez-vous expliquer à nos membres pourquoi nous avons recours au givrage sur certaines pièces?
Oui, bien, on a deux raisons. La première, c'est pour faire ressortir la différence entre les différents éléments. Donc, comme une personne avec un forêt en arrière, on veut que leur face, ça ressort vraiment. Donc, on va mettre du givrage là-dessus, puis pas sur le forêt en arrière. Et la deuxième raison, c'est des fois, ça aide à donner l'air un petit peu plus réalistique à les éléments sur la pièce, comme l'eau. Si on le laisse brillant, ça a l'air un petit peu plus foncé, tandis que si on met un givrage plus intense, ça donne l'impression que c'est presque blanche, comme la neige ou les nuages.
Donc, ça devient plus dynamique.
Mm-hmm.
Parfait. Combien de types de givrage pouvons-nous appliquer à une pièce?
On a cinq types qu'on utilise sur les pièces numismatiques. On a brillant sans relief, on a brillant avec du relief, on a une texture satinée, une texture mate et une texture mate plus intense.
Intéressant. Quelle est l'approche de l'équipe gravure concernant l'application du givrage?
On va discuter avec les gérants du produit pour voir s'ils ont une idée en tête de à quoi ils veulent que ça a l'air. Et avec ça en tête, on va sculpter pour que, disons, si on a un fini plus mat, on veut être certain que le relief soit assez fort en dessous pour que les petits détails ne sont pas perdus sous le fini.
Intéressant. Donc, c'est un processus qui évolue.
Exactement.
Je suppose que le choix du type de givrage dépend des éléments de la pièce. Quels sont les givrages les plus utilisés par l'équipe de gravure?
Oh, bonne question. Donc, pour l'eau, on va laisser la pièce brillante ou sans givrage pour que ça ait l'air un petit peu plus foncé, des fois presque noir, et pour que ça ait l'air un lac sur lequel le soleil brille. Tandis qu'on va utiliser un givrage plus mat, plus intense sur la neige ou les nuages parce que ça a l'air un petit peu plus blanche.
Examinons un exemple bien précis et récent. J'invite nos membres du Club des Maîtres qui ont cette pièce dans leur collection à examiner leur exemplaire. Abordant un thème canadien classique, cette pièce de 20 $ en argent fin, voici le Canada, merveilleuse étendue d'eau, la côte de l'Arctique nous fait voyager. Mélimisée en 2024, elle est la deuxième pièce de la série de 4 pièces merveilleuses étendues d'eau. Chaque pièce offre un portrait différent des étendues d'eau canadiennes. Samantha, regardons un peu les finis de la pièce. Je vois différents types de givrage.
Oui, donc comme on a parlé tantôt, on a laissé l'eau naturelle pour que ça brille. On peut voir que la neige en arrière, c'est une texture mate très épais, très intense pour que ça ait l'air plus blanche comme la neige. Les figures, donc l'hibou, l'ours et la personne en avant sont une texture satinée pour qu'ils ressortent, mais pas de la même manière que la neige. Et les mots sont tous en texture mate pour que ça ressorte du fond en arrière.
Wow, tous ces givrages intéressants pour venir dans une pièce. Tellement beau. Dernière question pour toi. Vous avez travaillé sur le givrage de bien des pièces depuis votre début à la Monnaie. Lequel vous a donné le plus de fil à retordre?
Ou probablement l'astrolabe de Champlain, à cause que c'était un coin direct. Donc, j'ai pas eu la chance de travailler là-dessus dans le positif, comme on fait sur une matrice poinçon. Et c'était tous les petits points de l'astrolabe, 360 points, je pense, qui étaient tellement petits autour de l'astrolabe, de la pièce. Il m'avait fallu polir dedans. Ça m'a pris des semaines à faire parce qu'ils étaient tous naturels, sans givrage là-dessus. Donc, ça a pris du temps, c'était dur, mais le résultat, c'était fantastique.
Wow, j'avoue, c'est une très belle pièce. À nos membres, si vous l'avez dans votre collection, allez la voir. Samantha, merci. Ce fut très intéressant et pertinent. Je suis certaine que les membres du Club des Maîtres en savent maintenant un peu plus sur le givrage. En tout cas, c'est le cas pour moi. Je suis très impatiente d'examiner certaines pièces de ma propre collection pour voir comment le givrage a été appliqué. Et je suis sûre que nos membres des Clubs des Maîtres en font autant. Je suis très contente d'avoir eu la chance de m'entretenir avec Samantha au sujet du givrage. C'est un sujet fascinant que tant de gens connaissent si peu. Il est maintenant le temps de passer au prochain volet. Jamie, qu'est-ce qu'il y a de nouveau dans le programme de fidélisation du Club des Maîtres?
Comme toujours, j'ai le bonheur d'informer nos membres des dernières nouvelles. Rendre la numismatique amusante et interactive est au cœur de notre objectif. C'est la raison pour laquelle nous tenons des événements virtuels. Ayant accès à des renseignements privilégiés sur le Club des Maîtres, je peux vous présenter les nouveautés en avant-première et vous parler de certaines choses à surveiller. Parlons d'abord de l'édition 2023 du livre de la collection annuelle.
J'ai entendu dire que ce livre découle d'une requête d'un membre du Club des Maîtres.
Tout à fait. Cette personne aimait beaucoup les livres que nous publions au milieu des années 2000 et nous a demandé le retour de cette formule. Et nous avons accédé à sa demande en 2020 et depuis ce temps, année après année, nous tâchons toujours d'offrir une édition améliorée. Je pense que c'est un beau souvenir pour nos membres et une belle façon de répertorier les pièces produites par la Monnaie royale canadienne pendant l'année.
J'aime voir ce livre comme un album souvenir rempli de magnifiques pièces.
C'est une belle façon de le voir. Ce que j'aime le plus avec ce livre, je pense, c'est le contenu exclusif et les histoires qu'on ne raconte nulle part ailleurs. Il y a d'excellentes histoires dans cette édition, comme celle sur le dollar, épreuve numismatique en hommage à Kit Coleman, la Journée nationale des peuples autochtones, le 2e bataillon de construction et notre allégorie de la paix, une merveille de l'équipe de recherche-développement.
À quoi servent ces pages transparentes?
C'est une de mes parties préférées du livre qui offre un prolongement du récit. On dit souvent qu'une belle pièce est une œuvre d'art et qu'une bonne œuvre d'art raconte une histoire. Cependant, une grande partie de notre clientèle n'a jamais la chance de voir l'œuvre originale ayant inspiré une pièce, laquelle mérite pourtant d'être admirée à son tour. Ce sont ces œuvres originales qui sont révélées sur les pages transparentes.
La couverture est belle et luxurieuse. Je devine que le livre accorde une place importante au décès de la reine Élisabeth II.
Ce fut un moment marquant dans l'histoire canadienne. Nous aurions manqué notre devoir si nous n'avions pas commémoré l'événement en détail. En quelque sorte, le livre de la collection annuelle est une édition spéciale. Il souligne le changement de monarque de la reine Élisabeth II à Sa Majesté le roi Charles III. Il nous donne aussi un aperçu des pièces créées pour cet événement sans précédent. Je sais que bien des personnes férues d'histoire font partie du Club des Maîtres et collectionnent des pièces qui soulignent un événement historique. Et quand je rencontre ces personnes, j'aime bien discuter avec elles. Moi-même passionné d'histoire, je trouve que ce livre est une belle façon de souligner la fin d'un ère. Donc, oui, ce livre est vraiment une édition spéciale.
Parlant d'édition spéciale, est-ce que l'ensemble hors circulation, édition spéciale, est encore offert avec le livre?
Bien sûr. Cette offre qui existe depuis 2021 fait le bonheur de nos membres. À la 2e page de couverture se trouve un ensemble hors circulation édition spéciale, offert en exclusivité avec ce livre. Les 6 pièces représentent les plus grandes commémorations de l'année, en version colorée et non colorée. Il y a 2 pièces de 2 $ de la Journée nationale des peuples autochtones, 2 pièces de 2 $ de l'anniversaire de la naissance de Jean-Paul Riopelle et 2 pièces de 1 $, hommage à Elsie McGill.
C'est la cerise sur le gâteau?
Absolument. De plus, le livre contient également une affiche, une autre demande du Club des Maîtres, et son tirage est plus limité que l'édition précédente, seulement 3500 exemplaires. Voilà une formule gagnante à mon avis.
Nous offrons aussi un rabais aux membres. Pas vrai, Jamie?
Oui, c'est l'un des avantages du Club des Maîtres. Les membres de tous les niveaux profitent d'un rabais spécial sur le livre de la collection annuelle. Les membres bronze, argent et or économisent 25 %. Les membres platine et prestige économisent 50 % et les membres diamant et diamant élite l'ont sûrement déjà reçu gratuitement. Voilà un des nombreux avantages d'être membre du Club des Maîtres.
Qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus du livre, Jamie?
Nous prenons tellement de belles photos de nos pièces dans les dernières années. Et ces images sublimes méritent, à mon avis, d'être imprimées dans un livre. C'est super de les voir sur les réseaux sociaux et ailleurs sur le web. Mais dans un livre, les centaines de belles images de nos pièces de 2023 y ajoutent une touche luxueuse.
Merci, Jamie, pour ce survol du livre de la collection annuelle. Enfin, je vais prendre une minute pour dire quelques mots sur le changement historique de l'effigie sur nos pièces. Nous parlons depuis déjà un moment sur la création de la nouvelle effigie et du travail qu'a exigé cette entrée dans la nouvelle ère. C'est donc un réel plaisir de pouvoir enfin voir le résultat et de retrouver Sa Majesté, le roi Charles III, à l'avers des pièces. J'ai apporté quelques exemples à vous présenter pour la postérité. Toute une génération n'a vu que l'effigie de la reine Élisabeth II sur nos pièces. Bien sûr, la nouvelle effigie est encore toute fraîche, mais nous allons bien finir par nous y habituer. Vous êtes nombreux à avoir récemment joint le Club des Maîtres ou à avoir renouvelé votre intérêt pour la numismatique en raison de la nouvelle effigie. Nous voulions donc prendre un instant pour souligner ce changement colossal. Le portrait de Sa Majesté, le roi Charles III, figure déjà sur un dollar épreuve numismatique et sur des pièces de circulation, de même qu'à l'avers des pièces d'investissement. Et tout récemment, nous avons frappé les dernières pièces qui porteront une effigie de la reine Élisabeth II. Je n'ai aucun doute que nous verrons les effigies de la reine, d'une façon ou d'une autre, sur des pièces commémoratives, mais en 2024 sera la dernière année où sa dernière effigie aura été frappée comme une effigie officielle sur des pièces de collection, de circulation et d'investissement. N'oubliez pas de souligner ce moment important. Vous vous en souviendrez pour des années à venir.
Comme bien d'autres collectionneurs de pièces, j'ai voulu avoir un souvenir tangible, une preuve historique de cette transition. Nos collections proposent des parcelles d'histoire choisies avec soin et, bien souvent, transmises d'une génération à l'autre. À vous de voir comment vous préférez souligner cette transition, léguer ce souvenir historique et commémorer ce moment marquant.
Nous avons passé un bon moment, vous aussi j'espère. Merci du fond du cœur, membres du Club des Maîtres, pour votre présence. Si vous avez aimé notre émission, n'hésitez pas à cliquer sur « J'aime » et nous laisser un commentaire. Et si vous avez une bonne idée pour la prochaine émission, n'hésitez pas à nous en faire part dans les commentaires. Si vous avez regardé en différé, nous vous invitons à assister en direct la prochaine fois. Vous aurez accès à encore plus de contenu et pouvez profiter des avantages exclusifs. Ne ratez pas cette occasion. Au plaisir de vous compter parmi nous au prochain événement virtuel du Club des Maîtres.
Salut!
À la prochaine!